Well, the topic we have today is cost of half-hearted beginning. Have you ever wondered, since yesterday I posted this, have you wondered how many of the projects we take up, we really begin with a full-hearted commitment? In other words, how do we put our best foot forward every time, continuously? You know, most of the things that I have been wondering about is out of compulsion, out of fear, out of I have to prove it to somebody, half-hearted decisions only, half-hearted beginnings only. I just get into something to just survive the situation. And the as I go into the program, I begin to realize all the nuances required to get the task going. For example, I started a tutorial myself, a training slash tutorial, and we were basing it on World of Inspired principle. We wanted children to all learn authentically and idealistic approach. And I thought, because if I had the freedom to do all of it, I could just do a perfect job. And that's all was the driving force. And I started it. And when people started enrolling, they wanted marks, they wanted quick results. And of course, we could cater to one on one for quite a few of them, but as a bulk volume, we could never get it going. It was too idealistic. But then, if I had my head, heart, and hands integrated, if it was not a quick beginning with just one of these thoughts, which was half-hearted. I mean, maybe I had fully invested in that thought, but the entire process to get the task going had to get a lot more than just that idea. So somewhere it was a weak beginning, and it continued to weaken the entire journey. Every time somebody did not come, somebody withdrew, and I had to pay people. Finances were looking bleak. It was weakening. Do I really want to continue this? Do really people want it? Why should I be doing it? All those kinds of things. So eventually, coincidentally, COVID hit and we had to shut it down. And in a way, I was happy, but it did not somehow, that idea itself did not contain all the abilities, all the like-minded people who would come forward, including the customers. And there was lack of this inner alignment. It was just a thought, maybe a little bit of feeling too, but willing to do it. I had to market it differently. I had to reach out to people differently. I had to package it differently. Eventually, parents wanted marks, and in my mind, children would definitely get marks. But the process was a little different, which parents were not used to. So we kind of failed in buying into the parents' confidence. So it was silently weakening the will. Have you also seen the courses that we enroll our children into? Again, half-hearted. I want children to be occupied this summer, so I put them into a karate class. The child may be reluctant, so there is always this struggle, wake up, it's time for class, I've enrolled you, it's only 4 weeks, and bribe them, maybe you will get the medal, we motivate them, whatnot. But then it is incomplete effort. And if you can see that, any incomplete effort will create a self-doubt. Am I capable? Did I really have to enroll my child in the class? Did I waste the money? Is other child performing better than my child? Should I try some other class? Whatnot. It may be not because of the failure, but somewhere I could not express my full potential. I didn't bring into all my ability to think, all the experiences that I had from the past, the lessons I took away from my own life or from the lives of people I saw around me. And when I did not show up fully, when I was not fully present, fully dedicated, fully available, somewhere we disconnected from my potential, from my capacity to perform. It's not that I was dumb, but somewhere that beginning, the effort to get it going did not get my full capacity. If I could, in my own case, if I could probably spend 3 to 6 months time talking to people, um, talking to students, and talking if my approach worked, how did people take it? And typically when we talk about Waldorf inspired anything, people say, will the child adjust to the competitive environment once they're out of that system? Or isn't it too slow? Or will my child be able to speak, read, write? And all those questions are there, and I've gone through it, but still I assumed I could do it. So my full intention was not set to making sure every concern was as much as possible addressed before embarking on that situation. It is not that I refuse the effort. It is not that children will refuse the effort. They will definitely want to go to karate if it is their own will. If not karate, maybe a football, maybe a morning jog, anything that they choose, or they have seen me enjoy and we have done it together, or I have a group of children who kind of go together and they're all aligned with each other. Some children do it out of peer pressure as well, though it may be half-hearted. Eventually when I do it enough number of times, I may begin enjoying the process also, right? Most of us don't refuse the effort, but it is the pressure and fear that we withdraw from. For me, I had to prove that this model works, and in that one-sidedness, I was out to prove parents that they need to take it slow. Eventually their child will catch up, rather than understanding the fear of the parent and assuring them that don't worry, final exam he will score well, but right now let him play a little bit. you know I failed to see that. So again, it was a half-hearted beginning. So outcomes are are not going to be very um, fulfilling. Of course, we may be successful, but the process is not going to be as beautiful and as easy as challenges come, no doubt. But then I'm also curious to take on challenges and make it work. But if it's half-hearted, I begin self-doubting. So generally with children, definitely it is, they have to see me do it. They have to see me get out and go do things, and somewhere they begin absorbing it. You see that in Marwadi families, business families, where the child, he may be coming to school, he may be coming to college, but he will also go sit with his father in the shop, and somehow he gets all the nuances. He sees his father pull through a difficult customer, and he gains this ability. So somewhere when he pitches into it later on, it is with wholeheartedness, with full of confidence. Just, I can handle any kind of a customer, any kind of dip in business, and I can make it work. So that kind of environment creates that feeling of safety and security. Before excellence, it's feeling of safe. Is my idea safe enough? Are the parents trusting me, which means I'm in a safety zone before I can prove myself? That I need to think through, especially as adults when we want to get going with something. So somewhere my preparedness to take on a new task is going to provide an environment for my child to be looking at all the aspects that they have to look at. Right from even packing to go on a vacation. Have I taken my bed sheet? Have I taken my towel, my bathroom kit? Simple things like that. Some of us have checklists. Some of us just go through I go through the entire day what I would need, and I would just take one at a time. My mother takes 2 weeks of it. She keeps whatever she remembers, she keeps putting it in one corner. And finally, when she is ready to pack everything that she would ever require, including what I might require, she has packed. So somewhere, if there is a meaning, packing for vacation, meaning would be I do not want to be scrambling around. I want to have my little comforts that I'm used to, and I want it quick and easy. So that's the purpose that my mother would take 2 weeks to put 1, 2 things away a day. Right? So when there is meaning, my effort naturally increases. There is no pressure there. Nobody is pressurizing my mother. Effort just happens. In fact, she is uncomfortable if it doesn't happen. So there is some kind of maybe an internal pressure that she should not forget some things. But it's important to understand, why am I doing this? What is the purpose for me to do this? And in world of education also, we talk about purposeful activities. Anything we make children do, they have to use it in some way. That is when the why is clear, the how will come. They may not know how to do it, but then they'll go figure out, I want to do this. How can I do it? Can you help me do it? Where can I go? All of those will kind of come together. But for me to have a purposeful, meaningful, well thought out, integrated head, heart, and hands, thinking, feeling, willing, I will be able to begin on a project that I can sustain through, build it, grow it, despite all the challenges. But we enjoy that process because, I thought about it, but did not think it could be at such a great intensity. So I'll put a little bit more effort on this challenging task that came up with the intensity I didn't anticipate of. So wholehearted action is born from connecting to that purpose, to that, the whole project, the connection, not compulsion. Anytime I'm doing anything out of compulsion, it's going to be half-hearted. So let's try and build that connection before we embark on any new project going forward.